America. And the pain my race go through, lying smitten by the bogus massa. Deep inside I burn, for my blood I mourn, cause I know they hit me too. Shaka, shaka, tell them when they lash my brother. Tell them that they hitting all away. Shaka, shaka, when they make we children suffer. Tell them they'll answer to all away. For we have family, one blood, one soul, to see our people free. One task, one goal. Tell them if they touch they better hit all away. I have seen the white man bleed, marching against apartheid, while Canadian youths protest. Free Mandela on their chest. Now my people, let's all join the struggle. Show your solidarity. From the US to Caribbean people, Africans must know apartheid must go, or we never will be free. Shaka, shaka, tell them if they lash we brother. Tell them that they hitting all away. Shaka, shaka, when they make we children suffer. Tell them they'll answer to all away. For we are family, one blood, one soul, to see our people free. One task, one goal. Shaka, shaka, tell them if they touch Mandela. Tell them they better hit all away.
En paz vele, en Kululeko manje.
Ulaba uchaba mande.
En paz vele, en Kululeko manje.
Ulaba uchaba mande.
En paz vele, en Kululeko manje.
Ulaba uchaba mande.
Taxi, taxi! Airport Kennedy! Lauren, you better wake up. I need a jet plane to take me non-stop. I can't stay in New York City when there's sunshine and pan in my country. Lions is the place with the jamming, with Cali and Charlie's roots clashing. Everyone happy partying, and I'm freezing in Brooklyn. Darling, Lauren, don't cry, I'm leaving. I can't miss this jamming with all them steel band beating and no man background shaking. If the butt bite your baby, then you could come and and join me inside Gazelle Steel Band, jamming with some man woman. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. I don't mind we practice the cultures that come from a foreign land, but we have our own thing right here that needs even more attention. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. I am talking about calypso, steel pan and limbo dance.
Yes, indeed, of course, a pleasant night to all and sundry. Yes, welcome in the midst of Carnival, in the midst of the festivity. Work has to go on because at the end of the day, work will remain and Carnival will come and go. And the festivity, of course, will be a blissful, possibly, memory. Awaiting, of course, to resurrect on the next occasion the following year. But in between, there is work to be done. And in order, of course, to even enjoy our carnival, we must have the resources to enjoy. And when you have a myopic group of individuals at the helm of our affairs, and they are telling us and giving us all kinds of pipe dreams, while they apply pressure after pressure after pressure, we know that they are attempting to hoodwink, deceive, and more devastatingly, it clearly in the case of Rowley and a bunch of opportunistic political parasites, pure incompetence, impotence, and the desire to dispossess the most vulnerable. I have tonight a correspondence, a letter from one of the primary schools saying that as from tomorrow, no school lunch. No school lunch. But yet still, Rowley, of course, will engage in utilizing our monies by, of course, producing and renovating all buildings that have no use to us in contemporary Trinidad and Tobago, but more significantly, utilizing scarce resources according to him. While, of course, crime and criminality goes asunder, and then he comes and gives you cacophonous babblings, all kinds of meandering talk, some of which are so damn obsolete, I'm sure that he had difficulty in resurrecting. Yes, people, in the midst of Carnival, we must mind our business.
I say the load may look very heavy, yes, and the road may seem very long. As you know, success don't come easy. You got to work and struggle on. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. It is hard for someone to love you if you don't love yourself. If we want, because they're to break
This was no act of God or mere unlucky accident. All the money that has been expended on the process so far, much more is almost certain to be spent before the families will see a single dime or dollar in compensation.
The Commission of Inquiry, he said, cost a total of $15.5 million.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. To the Honourable Prime Minister, given that the final report of the Commission of Inquiry into the Paria tragedy recommended that compensation be given to the families of the victims who were involved in this fatality without accepting liability, will the Prime Minister state if the government has considered offering compensation either through Paria or other avenues to the affected families on behalf of the state?
Even though Paria is a state-owned entity, the government is not now in a position to override those situations.
Is the Honourable Prime Minister suggesting that any attempt to assist those families by way of compensation and financial help will only or can only be considered after a protracted legal process emanating from the report of the Commission of Inquiry?
To be improper for me to take any position.
Do you feel it's, and my question is, do you feel it is good practice to allow the present board to adjudicate on the report findings of the Commission of Inquiry?
Mr. Deputy Speaker, if the present board doesn't do it, which board does he want to do it?
Again, is the Prime Minister suggesting that the present board of Paria that has been found wanting by a Commission of Inquiry is now in charge of assessing the report and further action to be taken when that seems incomprehensible? Question is, does the Prime Minister believe that board should be fired forthwith, given that they have been named in that report as negligent? Prime Minister, don't you believe it is untenable for the current board that has been found wanting in a report to take legal advice now to help themselves? Don't you think that they have already been compromised and conflicted and ought to be removed and allow another board to take whatever action is deemed necessary?
The status of the board of Paria is a matter for the Cabinet of Trinidad and Tobago, and I will not take any advice from the member from our breaches. The figures available at this time is that Paria has spent to date $8,548.18, with a further $899,513.17 being processed for payment. The breakdown is not available to me at this time.
All the money that has been expended on the process so far, much more is almost certain to be spent before the families will see a single dime or dollar.
Good night, everyone. My name is Vanessa Kusi. I am the wife of Rishi Ryan Nagasa, the late. I don't like to say late, but it's the late Rishi Ryan Nagasa. I'm standing here before you, still waiting for justice for my husband. The Paria tragedy. Next month will be 2 years since this accident happened, and we are still waiting for justice. I stand together with the 4 other families as we want justice for the 4 deceased divers and the lone survivor.
This is 40 years I've been in politics.
When this news reached my home,
40 years.
the echoes of my screams
40
were
years
heard
later,
throughout my
you're telling me
streets.
about
My
changing
house
my
was filled
approach
in minutes.
to speaking to people in Tobago.
Myself and my family went to Paria.
If after 40 years it doesn't change, you change now?
First,
40
we
years
saw the
later,
securities. We
you're
asked
telling me
them
about
if there
changing
were
my
accidents that
approach
happened there,
to
about
speaking
maybe 3:30 or
people
so,
in Tobago.
and they said no, there's no
If
accident.
after 40 years
they
it doesn't change,
know
you change
about.
now?
No, this there starts with a lie.
If you are describing and making
few minutes
recommendations
after
to me
I
that I should
saw
not say these things, one,
Ambulance coming out from
or I should not say them so,
Paria.
well,
my
it's the
uncle
only way I
stopped
know.
him,
You don't get involved with
driver.
stupid talk. I'm the only person from the
and he
cabinet.
asked
So all
about
this
the incident
speculation
that
about
took
someone,
place
someone,
inside
someone.
Paria,
If you want to say
and
the Prime Minister when the
if the men
President
are
says
still
so,
in the
the
pipeline.
high-ranking official, I'm the only official
They
in the
told
cabinet
them they do not
who
know
goes to President how to conduct
because
state
Paria
meetings.
officials are keeping everything very secretly,
And I've said,
and they just went
I
there and they
have
said,
given
"Ma'am, I would like you to
from
pray
my
and pray a
office
lot."
information
I fell on my
to
knees,
the Police Service Commission
begging God
Vice
for this
Chairman.
not to be real.
Why is that so difficult to understand? I have
For a
given
state-owned company,
information which I gave that information
you all didn't
to
have the
Defense
decency
Commission.
to call the immediate wives
I have
to
been
let
to
them
President
know
House.
this big
If you want to
tragedy
hold it
happened
and say,
in
I
our
should not have
country,
given that to the
and
Service
you
Commission,
never had
I
a
said,
small
well, I
little piece
don't
of,
agree.
you know, a heart to
If
call
you
the
want to say I
families
should not have gone to
of the
President
deceased
House, I said,
divers and let them
you
know
are
what is
out of
taking
place.
place.
You can't tell me when
I
to
have
go to
no
President
respect
House.
for
As
you
Prime
all.
Minister, I go there as often as required. So that whole scenario, that whole
Paria gave us
period of
nothing
attack,
and was
I'm
doing
not
nothing to save
joining
these
it.
men.
A high-ranking government official.
They, the Paria officials, never called
What is
any of the
high-ranking
families,
official?
and we
The
are
Prime
still
Minister, you-
waiting for
That
justice.
doesn't change one thing as far as I'm concerned.
Paria, you all are murderers, and we want this whole board to be fired because you cooperate with the deaths of our men. What the families got, nothing. I want them to know I'm going to fight for justice till the end. To the Prime Minister, the same way you came the next day and said our husbands are dead, and you tell the whole world our husbands, they are dead, and they were still alive days after. You need to come out the same way and meet and greet the family. We want justice. We want you to do and the Paria officials to come out and have meetings with us as of this week.
Yes, indeed, the people. Here it is, the heartless, brutal, wicked, nasty, diabolical, and certainly an individual that is some would appropriately describe as the devil incarnated, the devil manifestation, the devil manifested. Because here it is. If this man is so criminally insane, let me repeat that. Rowley is so criminally insane that only recently he talked about, of course, his so-called success when he went to the United States. Always some kind of deception and some kind of sinister agenda built into, of course, the so-called success. So when he tells you to run, you know you had to stand up. You listen to him when he was saying that he spent 40 years talking that way and will not change. He says that now, but I want to tell you this. I'm saying all this and I'm giving you that prelude. Yes, that antecedent to tell you that when it was convenient and appropriate, that rapscallion was as pious could be, was at his deceptive best when he was looking to become prime minister. You doubted me? You doubted me that the man is a fake? You doubted me that he is heartless? You doubted me that he has no compassion or no compunction for the evil that he has descended on the entire population, including, of course, the middle class decimation and the poor class becoming more poor. You doubted me? Listen to his arrogance first. Now that he's prime minister, and I am going to play for you when he was seeking prime minister, he could mash hands, according to my mother. He was impeccable. He was immaculate. Yeah. He was imbued and saturated and pregnant with all kinds of compassion and concern for his fellow man and his human being and his, of course, fellow citizens. Well, we know what transpired. We know what the reality is. Because if you're saying that you love Trinidad and Tobago and you love your fellow man and you want to, of course, do them good rather than the harm that you have unleashed on the people, then those who are closer to you, not only would they know you, but they will also, of course, vouch for you. And they will say, nah, that man will not do this or do that, particularly where moral and ethical and spiritual and religious issues are concerned. But Rowley, in one breath, will espouse his religious upbringing and suggesting, insinuating, the corollary of which is that he is a person schooled and therefore practices high moral, ethical, and values that the population accepts, acknowledges, and would confirm that there goes a good Trinbagonian, because we know about keeping our brothers. We know about being our brother's keeper. We know about, as the old and a very venerable and, of course, a very, what I consider to be informative and iconic village council refrain. If I can help somebody as I pass along, then my living shall not be in vain. That is the old village council. The old village council hymn. The old village council motto. If I can help somebody as I pass along, then my living shall not be in vain. Well, I want to tell you, since Rowley got in the office of Prime Minister, the amount of people that he has passed along and caused to pass away. You know what I say? I say caused to pass away. In COVID, over 5,000. And record-breaking murders since he came into office. The amount of people that he passed and caused to be passed away. You know, if we are to take, of course, the old psalmist and the hymn to its logical conclusion, then Rowley's living, alive as he is totally in vain. Totally in vain. Because the song says, if I can help somebody as I pass along, then my living shall not be in vain. Rowley, your blasted living is in vain. Get to hell out of the office that you hold. But don't take my word for it. Let us get objective here. Let us get analytical here. Let us get on the track of common sense and rationality. And let us discard and divest all of the self-serving and the biases. Whether you are PNM, whether you're UNC, whether you are a member of my own party, love, it doesn't matter. The fact is that this is Trinidad and Tobago, and we must be objective. When Rowley, of course, was seeking the office of Prime Minister, and all of the signs were there that he was a narcissist to the hilt, an egotist, and now he has turned out to be a dictator and a total and absolute totalitarian. But more than that, we have seen that he could give on the spur of the moment and sometimes, of course, dream about it as he digs deep to try to sell us a story that is incongruent with or ironic to or the antithesis to the reality. The antithesis to reality, the opposite of reality, Because, of course, as we made him out on the ground report this morning, and, of course, yesterday, in that, what I consider to be damning, so-called, and I will like to describe it as anticlimax press conference that he would have held. He thought he could have come and bamboozle the people with a report that was since 2017, just about 2 years into, of course, the Rowley administration, when he gained, unfortunately, questionably, the office of Prime Minister in 2015. He said that, and he read from it, and what was more insulting was that he was telling the journalists Sunday, have you read it? It is good reading, you know. You should be, of course, be familiar with it so you could, of course, track how their tale. What kind of madman lunatic talk is that? So what if they read from it? What if they had a copy of it? What if they were tracking the performance of Rowley from that so-called document that he pulled from the sky? Because he just had nothing to say, no excuse to make, and decided, of course, to talk, as he say, scientifically. When I say it is total hogwash, I say that is dissonance talk, cognitive dissonance, meaning that have nothing to say, but have to say something. He then pulls that and hoping that somehow, as his propaganda has typically demonstrated, like plaster on a wall, like plasticine on a wall, he throws it out there and hope that it will stick. No, Rowley. No, Rowley. The adhesiveness of your propagandic hogwash has no stick-to-itive value. None. It is not sufficiently viscous. And therefore, the adhesive nature of it will wane with immediacy. So it can't stick. The viscosity, I say, is like water on duck back. It simply will run off, as it has with respect, of course, to that nonsense that he spoke yesterday to the population, giving us and hyping it up. Wait until Tuesday. Wait until Tuesday. I am going to give you all the details about Erla and, of course, this, what I consider to be bald-headed fake Rasta called Hines. Bald-headed fake Rasta called Hines. In Laventille, he's called a peacock. Plenty flair, gallery, but no substance. That is why his own constituents had to run him out amidst dirty, brackish, and no doubt disease-ridden runoffs or water. Yes, give him a good shower. Give him a good shower. And boy, could he run. I thought Atto Bolden could have run. Hines get out of the beatum. Is the first man I know was engaged in both hydrodynamics and aerodynamics. He was moving smoothly like a submarine with his boots in the water, and the upper part of his body was gliding through, of course, gliding through the wind, which he created. Let's go straight to the line. Professor, good night. Welcome. Professor, good night. Welcome.
Good night, Lennox. Good night to you. Good night. Are you hearing me, Lennox?
Loud and clear. Loud and clear. Loud and clear.
Right. You know, we have to get that clear.
Yes.
Lennox. You know, it has some people as right. You know, it has some people as Mako Modero, some as Mako Kamla, who Toshi losing, and two of us, both of us gone back to Kit Rowley, right?
Yes.
Imagine this gutless, rotten gut lunatic have no shame to say that the crime talk was a puppy show. Imagine one of the diver's wife was standing there pouring her heart out, and you talking about it was a puppy show. But according to Dr. Rampo Saturday on Mikey's program, really nice interview with her, right? She pointed out a lot of things that this man said about that those meetings. Why you couldn't come, you couldn't face the citizens of the country. Kamala faced them. Kamala highlighted all the issues that are going on with the crime situation. You went to the states to beg for help, but you talking about that was a puppy show? That is why she invited him, because she know he useless. He has nothing to bring to the table. He will just make a fool of himself. Lennox, I don't know what is wrong with this man, you know. This man needs serious help. Serious help. We have murder by the minute. Everybody trying to help. But you talking about it's a puppy show? This man's sick. And I also want to find out, I want to Mako, did the FBI and the CIA coming down here? Was there a non-disclosure clause attached to it? I don't know, I asked them. Because they know they like to dish out money and boil non-disclosure.
Yes.
We want to know, Lennox, because somebody asked him. If they hear already and they say he don't know, he can't say.
He said, I will leave it there. I will go no further. That kind of hogwash. That does not conclude and satisfy anybody's concern with the situation.
I think he's lying, Lennox.
Of course he is. Of course he is. I have no doubt
I
about it.
think he's lying.
Of course he's lying. Of course he's lying.
Just to say like he went up there and he do something or some kind of hogwash like that.
Yes, some kind of phantasmagorical
Lennox,
story.
let me tell you something, eh? Let me tell you something. Unless we don't get serious in this country and put our differences aside, exactly what Jack Warner said tonight on Mikey program, we have to learn to put our differences aside. And we have to remove Rowley. We have to remove that man. That man is useless and wasteless. And if we can't do it for the benefit of the country, to save this country or our children, what is the use, Lennox? And all this hogwash. And the same thing I said, Lennox, and Indira Rampasad asked the same question. Is it for real that she approached Kamala and them and they ignored her? I don't believe that at all. But I take her saying that the PNM approached her. I don't know what it is she's trying to prove. I don't know. You did nothing for this country for 9 years. You never talked about what it is Rowley's doing to this country. Not even a mere mention of the crime situation. But you come into play your run in politics? No, it don't work so. And until we get serious, Lennox, we might. But I'm giving in. I'm not giving in, Lennox.
Yes, indeed.
And I'm inviting all the talkers, because you know we have a lot of talkers on the chats.
Yes.
When you see that march is called on the 18th, let me see all who coming out. Let me see all who coming out. Lennox, take care and have a good night. Thanks for
Yes.
listening.
Thank you very much. And of course, when he was talking, he Rowley in that press conference, what I consider to be a fake and an anticlimax at the same time, with much ado about nothing, because he said nothing of substance, yet still he generated, of course, a hype, an anticipation, flat, because he tried, of course, to attract and to take the narrative, agenda, or objective, or advantage, and it turned out to be pie in the sky, as he spat in the sky and it fall in his eyes. He must know that he's a total misfit, not trusted. And when he was talking, consistent with what the last caller said, I remembered when he came back from, I believe it was the Middle East, and he told us that I'm not so insignificant, and not, he loves to use, of course, double negatives, and not so insignificant. For those to see students, when you use a double negative, just as in arithmetic, it's a positive. So a not so insignificant means that it is a significant amount of money that was dedicated to Trinidad and Tobago, according to Rowley, when he came back from Bill Gates, and to make it much more attractive, and just as how he hyped yesterday's, of course, press conference to address seriously that joker, that near the well, that, of course, loquacious and garrulous nonsense talker, mouth running like blasted duck bottom, and like he eat dozens of parrot bottom. As he talk and talk and talk and talk, I can't say precious. I can only use precious in the context that you must not abuse God-given breath that is used, of course, to speak. That's the only reason why I'll say precious. But the man went on a tangent. He went on a frolic of his own verbally and arrived nowhere. Something like the highway that he built. I see them, of course, they're trying to at least construct an exit point. I'm talking about the highway to Manzanilla, a highway to nowhere. It doesn't have an entrance point nor exit point. I see the other day, I was up there, and of course, they put in an exit point. So I don't know where the entrance point is. But of course, it is an entrance, is an exit point along the narrow Sangre Grande highway. So I don't know, and that is before Sangre Grande. So I don't know how it's solving the issue of sending traffic straight to Manzanilla Road without having to pass through the bottleneck or the bottlenecks and the traffic jams that would have been created, especially at peak time, whether it's morning or evening, along that stretch of highway to Sangre Grande. I don't know. That is the level of dotishness that we have, purporting to be. Yes, indeed. Yes, a pleasant good night. A pleasant good night. A pleasant good night. But a pleasant good night. All right, well, I gave you an opportunity, but I noticed the call is, of course, the same gentleman or gentlewoman, I don't know. He has a voice that you can't tell if it is called effeminine or if it is masculine. But of course, he is there merely to be, of course, a nuisance and a similar, of course, cut of the same cloth like the person who he worships and consider his leader, talk about Rowley, a total rapist and pedophile. Let's say him again. He goes. That's the kind of distractions that we will not, of course, be lured to. But let us continue. The fact of the matter is that you have people who are so blind. And it is said that in blind man country, one-eye man is king. Well, Rowley is certainly a one-eye man. And the rest of them are totally and absolutely blind. So there we have it, people. So I thought Rowley presentation yesterday was similar to when he said Bill Gates provided Trinidad and Tobago with a not so insignificant amount of money, funds from the Bill Gates Foundation, and to embellish it and to make it sound like if it is true. To make it sound as if it is true. He then tells us that he had a conversation with the Secretary General of the United Nations. By the end of the night, he was issuing, not coming out physically, but issuing a statement in writing. So ashamed was he, saying that he was duped, he was hoodwinked by some scammer who tried to get money from him. And he noticed that when they asked him to send money first before he get this so-called windfall from the Bill Gates Foundation for Trinidad and Tobago. That is the level of nincompoop we have, purporting to be prime minister and playing that he is some kind of intellect. I mean, the man has made and run aground and clearly making the intellects or the intellectual, should I say, class in this country and elsewhere. Shame to be, of course, intellects. Let me take this call from here. I'm not getting it elsewhere. Yes, indeed. So we are going to continue, of course, to do what we have to do in order to treat with the issues of the day. Once again, I thought his performance was similar to when he told us that Bill Gates sent some money to us. A pleasant good night. A pleasant good night.
Hello, good night, Lennox.
Good night to you.
Oh, well, Lennox, answer the man. I want to hear him. Don't cut him off now. Let the man call and talk now, Lennox.
I answer him.
I just like to hear them.
No, I answered him, and there was this tremendous delay. Yes, I did that. So I realized it's only mischief. So I'm not bothering with that. I'm not here about old talk and obfuscation. No, I did answer. I was saying hello, if you were listening, and nothing. So that's it for me. Yeah. So let me hear what is your contribution?
Sometimes Lennox, let us make a little thing. Oh gosh. Anyhow, Lennox.
Them can't teach me
I'm
anything.
I'm going Panorama Saturday.
Okay.
No other people are listening now. You never know, you know?
Yes,
So here now, Lennox, you're going Panorama thing. I want to shift a little bit from that.
Me?
Yeah.
Panorama? Me?
You said,
yes,
you said if you're going Panorama Saturday.
But Desperados is my band.
Despot? Why
Yes,
Despot's playing him?
Yes, I know, but
you have to hold on and dance to that tune.
I heard you on the last occasion, and I just smiled, so I'll let you know now. Desperados is my band.
But they're playing him, they will come last.
Well, I see they came sixth, I think, in the semis there. So I'm sure they will be tidying up what flaws that they may have had, and therefore will come again. So let's see where they will end up on this occasion.
Then I know sharpening up there, boy. Since preliminaries, they're playing him. They play semis, they're playing him, and then I know sharpening. They have to hold on and dance.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I go in and well get on. Thank God my foot don't. Thank God my foot Don't get me no challenges and it ain't no bobo and thing. Anyhow, the word is Maduro. Miss Santa Cruz, the word is Maduro. Okay?
Yeah. But you know
All
that
right, Lennox, have a good night.
yes, but you know, because of our dialect, you would not pronounce it as the Spaniards or the Spanish will or the Venezuelans would. You would appreciate that as well, because many of them can't pronounce Kamala either. So it goes. But of course, we know what you mean, because that is what the power of language is. Language is about, of course, making sure that you can communicate. Once you communicate, that's it. That's why I keep telling people that it could be green verb, blue verb, yellow verb. It doesn't matter. Just, of course, do so with dignity and pride. You have a sufficient vocabulary so to do, and therefore, in such circumstance, you will be able to get your expressions across to the whole world and Trinidad and Tobago. But I want to, of course, again focus on the deception that is Keith Christopher Rowley. You see, it's important because he has told us that he will not change. And in an interview, and after, of course, the licks that they got in Tobago, and that's the point I was making earlier as well, that here it is. You were jettisoned. You were denied. You were relegated to almost zero in Tobago among people that you grew up with, and your formative years would have been, of course, impressioned right there. And yet still, they rejected you because you tried one too much. You engage, of course, in what is called, you want to test the waters, and you want to go as far as you can, as we saw even yesterday, when, of course, he said that he will not do anything to, of course, interfere with Hines, nor, of course, Erla, even though he has recognized that, of course, they are unfit, and they have, of course, made fundamental flaws that, of course, will make them incompetent, impotent, and no good candidates in the first place for the respective offices that they would have held. That is the view. Generally, there are those, of course, who will have a different view. But certainly, the consensus, not the unanimous, but the consensus, the majority, that is, of course, the views. And we have a duty and responsibility to express the views of the majority at minimum. And if all have the same view and on the same page, well, fine. That is also applicable and possibly perfect. But that being as it may, let me, of course, show you what Rowley said in an interview. He's like a scent. He won't change. He is immutable. Listen to what he said in an interview some time ago. That this man is totally out of it. Yes, indeed. So listen to what he had to say.
It's 40 years.
Yes, indeed. He said he's 40 years in the business and he can't change.
For what? You telling me
and
about
I'm saying that, of course,
changing
to make
my
a particular
approach
point.
to speaking to people in Tobago? If after 40 years then change now? 40 years later, you telling me about changing my approach to speaking to people in Tobago? If after 40 years then change now? But if you are describing and making recommendations to me that I should not say these things, one, or I should not say them so, well, it's the only way I know. You don't get involved with stupid talk. I'm the only person from the cabinet. So all this speculation about someone, if you want to say the Prime Minister and the President, say so. But high-ranking official, I'm the only official in the cabinet who goes to President House to conduct state business. Right? And I've said I have given from my office information to the Police Service Commission by its chairman. Why is that so difficult to understand? I have given information which I gave that information to the Service Commission. I have been to President House. If you want to hold it and say I should not have given that to the Service Commission, I said, well, I don't agree. To President House, I would say that you are out of place. You can't tell me when to go to President House. As Prime Minister, I go there as often as required. So that whole scenario, that whole period of Kankatak, I'm not joining it. A high-ranking government official. And who is high-ranking official? Say the Prime Minister if you wish. That doesn't change one thing as far as I'm concerned.
Prime Minister, do you think the results on Monday suggest that your popularity here in Tobago may be waning as well?
What popularity I had in Tobago? If those points, as they were made, are deemed to have been bullying people, well then so be it. 40 years later, you're telling me about changing my approach to speaking to people in Tobago? If after 40 years then change now? But if you are describing and making recommendations to me that I should not say these things, one, or I should not say them so, well, it's the only way I know.
Will this be your last THA election as Prime Minister?
I don't know. I don't
or
know.
as political leader?
I don't know. I'm not one of those who claim to be able to see around the corner.
I ask this in the context of what you said on the campaign platform back in 2020 in terms of you not seeking another two.
Maybe I was still around the corner.
That position that you took then, are you still standing by that position?
When I have something to tell you about that, I'll let you know.
Early days.
When I have something to tell you, I'll let you know. Right?
So,
this is 40 years I've been in politics.
Never, of course, upfront with a serious matter.
Years.
So many times he said that he will, of
40
course.
years later, you're telling me about changing my approach to speaking to people in Tobago?
Yeah. So there you have it, people. He said that he wouldn't change, and therefore we must not change. We must, of course, be as brutal, as relentless, and as consistent like the Northern Star, in order, of course, to make Rowley and them know that you are beholden to us. We are your employers. You are the employee. And therefore, in such circumstances, you're working for us. And you cannot determine whether or not you will stay there and be arrogant about it and be cocky about it. And of course, pretending somehow that you have some kind of stake, or the PNM has a stake in Trinidad and Tobago. And I've always asked the question, if the PNM believes that the Trinidad and Tobago belongs to them, and that Eric William give it to them, or will it to them, or bequeath it to them, then the question must be asked, who the hell gave it to Eric Williams? I want to know that person. Let me sue them. Let me sue them. This man is a total lunatic and a total, of course, rapscallion, a deceiver and a wicked man. But I want to show you how pious he was before he became Prime Minister. Before he get the awesome power and feel it, and feel that power. And as a little child with a box of matches next to gasoline, little child, the box of matches next to gasoline. Let's go straight to the line. President, good night.
Hello.
The President, good night. Welcome.
Yeah, Lennox. Good night.
Yes, indeed. Good night to you.
Yeah. I could be wrong in this in my but I feel Rowley mission to America. Or if I'm meeting with the UN, the WHO, and Bill Gates. So he could be coming back here with some kind of bag of evil to hand it down on we. I don't think he's really serious about no crime and all them thing. I feel them thing is just sidetrack, cannot talk.
I hear you.
You understand? I could be wrong,
I hear you. Yeah, of
but
course.
this is just my suggestion.
Yeah, but he has put himself in that position because he will never tell the truth and the absolute and total truth. There's always something sinister. There's always something to hide.
Exactly.
Yeah, the people have to always be watching over their shoulders. When he say go, you have to come. When he says stand up, you have to run. And when he say close your eyes, well, of course, you have to open your eyes wide. And when he say don't talk, well, you know you have to talk. I mean, the man is totally despicable.
Exactly.
Yes. So you're quite right. You can't trust him. Yeah, you can't trust him.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is the issue, yes. That is the issue.
Okay,
yeah.
then.
Yeah, then. Yes, my friend. Yes, indeed. But let's go straight, of course, to when he was being interviewed by Julian Rogers. I want those sycophants and them to stay tuned and to eat your heart out. You will see a pious Rowley. You will see a condescending Rowley. You will see a man that can't mash hands. He's impeccable. He don't want anybody to impugn his character. And even when, of course, he was confronted with the fact, even though he was confronted with the fact that he raped a school child, and she made his first son at the age of 17, he was unremorseful. He was saying, and he said then, that she exonerated him. I don't know how you could be exonerated when, of course, 9 months before she made the child, she would have been, of course, she would have conceived and impregnated by him, and therefore plump 16 years thereabout of age, because she made the child 4 months, not as shy from 18, 4 months before her 18th birthday, and therefore she was plump 17, and therefore she was conceived, if not at the ending, but certainly when she was 16 years of age. And there is more. You can't expect a man like that, who of course boasts of his honey goat weed. And you hear him? Honey goat weed. In other words, his version of the blue tablet. His version of the blue tablet. So it means, therefore, he could have been having sexual intercourse with this child by the age 13, could have been 14, could have been 15, but certainly 16 years of age, because she made the child 9 months. She had to take 9 months to make the child, which of course she made in 1970 at the age of 17, 4 months before her 18th birthday. And you have people still following this man and somehow believe that he is electable material. Or worse yet, that he is a sane human being. Or worse yet, that of course, the fact that he is indurate, not compassionate, brutal and ruthless, as we have seen him, of course, every day. We turn on the television and so, but of course, in my home, that has been banned. That has been sanctioned. No way Rowley could talk in my home on the television and mash it up. Yes, indeed. But let's go straight, of course, to when, of course, he told us when he could mash ants. When he couldn't, of course, when he couldn't say nasty things. When he had to show a show, when he had to demonstrate our image. Let's go straight to the lines. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor. He could have been. Welcome to the corridor. Well, of course, as good could be in the circumstance that we are in.
I hear you went by the house Monday, that's why you didn't show up today. You went on party and done. So you didn't have a show yesterday because you were tired.
Yesterday, I didn't have a show. No, I came on late because the YouTube was not engaged. But I was on for the full program on the other platform. Yeah, Facebook. So I was there. Yeah. And if you tune in late, you would have got me because I had to reboot and come again. Yes. So you might have gotten frustrated and God drop asleep. But you know, tenacity is a wonderful, so it's a characteristic of a human being. When they want to get something done, they get it done, regardless of circumstance. Once it is positive, of course. So there we have. All right, okay then. Yeah. So go back and replay last night's program. It would have been equally interesting. But of course, let's go, as I said, straight to Rowley. And of course, you will see him in a different mood before he became Prime Minister, before the stolen elections. And you will understand what I'm talking about. Let's go straight, of course, to the lines once again. Pleasant good night. Welcome. Welcome. All right. Oh, all right.
Hear me now?
Yes, I hear you loud and clear.
Yes.
Hear me? Yes, loud and clear, yes.
Right, the Prime Minister had a big press conference yesterday to back up the incompetence of earlier. You can believe that?
Yes.
And the man saying to fire she would be a big a big mistake. I want to know what kind of incompetence this man forcing on the people in this country, right?
Well, I want to know what kind of.
I don't think it's only because of Carnival you can get rid of stupidness, you know.
Well,
because this woman has done nothing. She has done nothing for the past year she's been there.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I agree with you.
Lennox,
I was
the woman outsourcing she job to get help from. She outsourcing. She advised for Ian Williams and Joanna.
I like that. I like that too.
And when people start calling for an interview, she don't take no. She don't take no interview again because she can't say things. She have no. She incompetent.
Yeah.
So incompetent person, and that's Dr. Rowley forced the people of this country. Incompetence. Just like he incompetent, like he bring this incompetence. And that's because he told her the same in that why he keeping she there. Because she's Christopher and he's Christopher with the family, grapevine family. So that's how I go on. How about that?
Same to you, my friend. Same to you, my friend. I was going to make a comment, but of course, it's clear that you weren't able to engage me, so I forwent that. But let me get straight, of course, to the video that I want to play tonight, which I think would be very instructive. Rowley.
Do you think that Trinidad is ready for another Tobagonian to be leader of the country?
I think this country is ready for a leader.
In an unprecedented all-access interview, regionally renowned journalist and media personality Julian Rogers goes on a one-on-one with a principal figure and one of the most enduring names in Trinidad and Tobago politics and government, leader of the opposition People's National Movement. Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley opens up in the beginning of one of the most crucially pivotal and media-sensitized election campaigns in local political history.
When I became leader of the PNM in 20, the application was for the job of Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago.
Questions on land date.
What clearly would have been decisions in the land date affair.
Questions on his growing up.
Which one were you good at?
I was good at both. The police came looking for me, but I was in Trinidad.
His reactions to recent accusations about his family.
One member of parliament has clearly gone over the limit.
The allegations about me personally.
Life in opposition.
When we're in opposition, we don't just disintegrate.
The economy.
What is really required
is for greater involvement of the private sector.
On the State of the Republic.
The vast majority of people in Trinidad and Tobago are decent, right-thinking citizens.
His reputation.
So your integrity is your most valuable asset?
Yes, and I will defend it to the hilt.
In 1 hour with Julian Rogers and...
the political leader of the People's National Movement, Dr. Keith Rowley.
Boys and finesse.
He joins
At
us
that
now.
time, before
Dr. Rowley,
becoming
welcome.
Prime Minister.
First of all, let's understand where you come from. There's a sense that you are really, truly drawn out of Tobago. And there's a sense that Tobago is a fashioner of people of a different ilk from Trinidad. Is that a fair comment?
With all positives to that, I would say yes. I'm a village boy from Mason Hall in Tobago, grew up in Mason Hall in the 60s, and the values of that era, I think, have served me quite well. Grounding in religion and in the school place, where certain values were instilled in you. And I think those values are, enduring. I was raised by my grandparents and largely by the community. It was the time where a child in that village was largely a child of the village. So while you lived under the roof of your guardian or parent, once you were awake, you were the responsibility of the community.
Now that's Tobago upbringing. I'm curious about the Trinidad upbringing.
My mother lived in Laventille. I'll come here off and on for vacation, at August time. And since I was about 7 years old, I would come spend a few weeks until I was like about early teens. But my mother would come to Tobago every Easter and every Christmas. So we had that kind of relationship. And they were all vacations to look forward to, either my mother coming or my coming down here. And then eventually, when I moved to live in Trinidad in 1970, I lived
Very
with my mother
important,
for a little while.
1970, they're running
By
from
that time, my
Tobago.
mother had moved to
Running from
Mova.
Tobago. That's
So I
when
lived in Mova with my
Cat
mother.
Allen was born, 1970.
Late 69 into 70. And in those days, Mova was an exciting place to live in. Turned out I won the Sylvan Bowl Scholarship at Bishop's, which was a single scholarship that was available to the top student each academic year. And I won that scholarship, but the information didn't come on time for me to register in 90. And I worked as a teacher, and then I entered UWI.
Go straight to the line.
I was offered
Just
a
a minute.
position on the faculty at UWI at Seismic Research. So I joined the staff.
All right. Professor, good night. Welcome.
Hello?
Professor, good night. Welcome.
Yes, Lennox. I watching Rowley how he sit down there and he talking so cool and calm.
A different man. Yeah.
Watch my man. And you know, cool and calm and nice and thing. And this man so bad.
Yeah, he looking for the office.
But you know,
looking for the
Lennox,
office. Yeah, go ahead.
I can't understand. Yeah, I just can't say things like I hate him and all these things, eh? You never hear me say that, Lennox.
No, I've not.
Let me lower this volume a little bit. You hearing me better now, Lennox?
Much better, yes, much better.
So what I'm saying is I just can't say things like I hate him and I wish he dead and I wish he get heart attack and all this. You just never hear these things coming out my mouth, Lennox. But I don't like the behavior of this man.
Yeah.
We don't have that Lennox and fear God.
Look how good
you see them slave master will make we ancestors start to worship that God that they have. And we have to break away from we Orisha, you know, we African religion. Up to this day, I can't use the word hate in my mouth. But it have a mixed kind of people where don't look like me and they had their ancestor name. They'd be all on the chat day. And they just stop playing, you know, them all bold and they're snooky and they say they hate him and they want him dead with heart attack. No, 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 I can't do that. I fear God. I fear God, Jehovah. You see them 99 goddamn people have, they don't respect none of them God, boy. I can't understand that, you know. Anyhow, I like how he looking, despite all the thing. Lennox, we have to pray for him. I just want to pray.
I hear
Yes.
you. I hear you. I hear you. I hear
Amen.
you. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. But of course, all of us have our burdens to carry, and so nobody can die or could be pardoned for another person of whatever iniquities or sin that they would have committed. So I will not, of course, delve into that aspect of the moral and the spiritual realm of an individual. They will have to pay for whatever they would have done, negative or positive. That deception, before he became prime minister, a totally different fella. That is a metamorphosis in reverse. You know what I say? I say that Rowley's sitting there and taking that interview before the 2015 elections is metamorphosis in reverse. Yes, metamorphosis in reverse, people. Yes, indeed. Let's continue, of course.
There's a junior research fellow, and I moved up to research fellow, and eventually I became head of that department, and had these good experiences.
Let's talk about your political education. Where did that begin?
My political education began in 1970 when I was a teacher at Rowley Government Secondary, and it was the...
For the first time, you'll be hearing Rowley say that his first political platform was NJAC, only on the corridor transformation. I keep telling you that, but tonight you'll get it. And therefore, what I want to tell those sycophants and the PNM, they go die at PNM, and it will certainly kill them, is that Rowley was diametrically opposed to Eric Williams, the founding father of the party that all you say, all you love and revere. Listen to him in a while. Let's go to the lines. Pleasant good night. Welcome.
A pleasant good night. A pleasant good night, Mr. Lennox.
Good night to you.
You hear me, Mr. Lennox?
Loud and clear.
Yeah,
loud
once
and
again,
clear.
night to everybody in the chat, everybody in the international.
Yes.
All right. So I just was listening to the chat here now, Mr. Lennox. You're trying to educate people, but then it's a little talk going through the chat and the phone calls and there. That's what everybody to understand. Let me do fight each other on that. Let me leave that right there. I have a question I want to ask anybody on the chat. What makes you a better UNC supporter than me? Because all I just do with UNC is listen to the TV, go to a meeting, dip my hand in the ink. I don't want to spend 24 hours day and night doing a poster, helping, painting, this and that. So what makes you a better UNC supporter than me? What you just do different than what I just do for UNC to make call yourself a top number one UNC supporter? That's the question I want to ask everybody in the chat there. Right? Because the same thing you most of all do is the same thing I just do. Go and vote, listen, chat, but talk the PNM, deal with the trolls on them, go to a meeting, and dip my hand in the ink. Which one are you just go and spend 24 hours in the camp and paint and clean and help and spend your Saturdays and Sundays and go and help charity and all that? Which one are you just do that? But they want to play the best UNC. Come on, you gotta stop fighting. What are we on the same boat? Maybe just stop it. All right, Mr. Lennox, have a good one.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Beautiful caution, of course, admonition and good advice. Good advice. This is not about recrimination from within. This is about a single enemy, the PNM, and led by Rowley. And we see him here in a totally different context. A totally different man when he was seeking, of course, prime minister. That is when he was in opposition. And now he's prime minister. He's brutal, ruthless, choleric, and acidic. The caller on the telephone. That's a good night.
Pleasant good night, Mr. Lennox.
Good night to you.
I ain't called to attack nobody, but I hear any woman saying that you can't wish this and wish that on this man. But
yes.
This man, have we living like dogs? People living like dogs as a prime minister. You deserve to call anything, any number with he's an oppressor, he's a slave master, he's an abuser to people.
Yes.
We always say about him, what you think he's doing to the
That's when he was in
opposition.
Caller, just hold on. I have someone on the private phone. All right, caller?
Okay.
No. You go ahead. I started with you first on the telephone, so go ahead. I'll ask the other caller to wait. Go ahead.
Yeah, this man is out. I can talk, right?
Yeah, go ahead. You go ahead, yes.
Yeah, this man is out. So we can't say nothing good about this man. We can't
Hold on. Don't say what you have to say.
Okay, I want to ask a question.
Just now. All right. You want to wait until he finish? All right.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Go ahead. Ask your question. Go ahead. Go ahead. I have somebody on a private line, but go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead. Ask the question.
Okay. Trinidad and Tobago get independence in 1962. Okay.
Yes.
Did they ever uplift the Constitution?
Well, we had
the Constitution, the law of the land. Did they ever?
No, well, you remember we migrated to a Republican state, and the Constitution was changed from an independent to a Republican in 1976. Remember that? So I don't know if it's that you're referring to.
Yeah, but it changed.
Yeah, there was certain changes.
No. What I am referring to is that. Yeah, but if they change it, how Rowley hand tie? How you have to go to the independent, and when party come, party go, and nobody is doing nothing up to now. Everything just like it remain the same.
Because of the
I mean, you understand what I'm saying? Because I'm not here like I'm breaking up.
Can be what we are seeing now. Dishonorable conduct, behavior, policies, programs, and of course, corruption, nepotism, cronyism, and of course, total and absolute incompetence and mismanagement. Go ahead, caller, on the phone here.
Yes, Mr.
Yes, go ahead. Yeah.
We are the working poor.
Right.
They say everybody, all those PNM people calling and saying it had jobs. But I saw the other day, the prison service had interviews for jobs. 3,000 people came out. Then the police service had interviews in 2 separate places, and 1,500 by 1,500 came out looking for jobs, and most of them was youth.
Yeah, unqualified. And have the certificates. Yeah.
On that this administration.
Yeah.
And Mr. Lennox, I want to go a little further. You ever hear CIA and FBI come in a country like in the Caribbean? I was looking for the data and solve anything.
No, I don't know that.
There's no terrorists here. and I'm saying after the Prime Minister or the people, if I'm not mistaken or I'm not wrong, that it's just a few people that causing the crime. But if it's a few people, we don't need the FBI, we don't need the CIA.
Listen, that's part of Dr. Rowley's cacophonous babblings and deception. These phantasmagorical stories that he make up, like the email gate, like of course the fact that he did not interfere with the police service commission, and we can go on and on. Yeah, so
yes.
You just dismiss him.
Back to the woman before I go, not attacking anybody, but we don't care how nice you're looking because the devil has come so nice. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead. Yes,
devil has come so nice. We don't care how nice you're looking. We dislike that person as the leader and leading this country because this country right now, to be honest, is a failed state.
Yeah.
Every time you hear the dog bark, Mr. Lennox, you have to peep out your window to make sure it's not somebody coming to kill you.
Yeah, boy.
And we have a commissioner that he wants us to support that is a failure. And people saying she's not to be blamed, she's to be blamed because you have to protect your name. If you know you cannot do the job, well then resign and protect the little bit of a name that you have left.
Integrity, yeah, but 30 pieces of silver, boy. You could buy Judas's. Judas's and person endangering their lives.
This man is the devil in a tie and a suit, and all the people who following multitude to do evil. Look at our country now. I wonder where Gypsy singing now. You have a blessed night, Mr. Lennox.
Same to you, my friend. Same to you, my friend. Of course, people have, of course, their views. As I said, I will always keep this as a democratic platform. You may have a variant view, but if you come with nonsense and, of course, personality and trying to defend the indefensible, do so without, of course, any kind of recrimination or resort to what I consider to be unpleasantries. But that being as it may, of course, let's go back to Dr. Rowley and his, of course, pious disposition. Listen to him now and find out what he was. You PNM people, all you feel Rowley is any PNM. He's a fake PNM.
Movement.
All right, we'll have to go back there. All right, let me take this call. Pleasant good night, welcome. Pleasant good night, welcome. Good night once again. Good night. Yeah.
I wanted to know what Gypsy singing.
Yeah.
Gypsy singing your Moroccan beneath. And getting $45,000 for appearance fee. He going up in example, he collecting money for that. He's a past parliamentarian, he collecting a pension. He's head of the NCC, he collecting a pay for that. Why Gypsy so hungry for?
Or is it greedy? Or is it greedy and he don't care how it go look?
The man is arrogant in the locks. When he was interviewing and asking if there are conflict of interest, he said once he's a custodian, he could go and sing in any kind of competition. That's the kind of arrogant person he was. No wonder when they tried to run him out where he was mayor, that he was getting on like a fool. You can remember the mattress and thing that he had up there?
Yes.
Everybody remember that one, you know?
Yeah.
The water and thing that was storing up there. You understand? We should never get it. No hole in it.
Yeah. And Maruga, Tableland, he was supposed to be a hife, a big twatty in Maruga, Tableland. Well, of course, a little neophyte, a little newcomer, a little fresh woman, make him shame. All right.
Prime Minister, but you have plenty to answer for.
Yes, of course.
Plenty to answer for when he invoked something over Mr. Marin to finish off the PNM supporters who study that. There's only study how Carnival went up in a helicopter and dropping things from the air. That's what you're talking. When you talk about he said, that is there in video of what the man is saying when you do Marin. Alright?
Yes.
And they don't remember that convenient mental loss. But in our day coming, you know, Dr. Rowley could dance how he wants. He want to face the music in the end, you understand?
Yes.
All the day.
Kumbaya. Yes, indeed. Well, that's the point I was making, that he is going to get the shock of his life and he will go away with the delusion that he did no wrong. Straight, of course, to a mental asylum for the criminally insane. You know what I say? For the criminally insane. That's where he will go. Look the man. He can't touch ants. Before, of course, he became prime minister. And as soon as he smelled that power, the man became, of course, a wild and uncontrollable beast. As he, of course, deliver pernicious and wicked and evil blows one after the other. Raise the cost of living, food, clothing, shelter, entertainment, travel, you name it. A pleasant good night, welcome. A pleasant good night, welcome.
A pleasant good night. A pleasant good night to you, Mr. Lennox, and all your listeners and the slave catchers. Mr. Lennox, I would like, before you play the video, to say, if you get the one in the Napa, or what they call it in Port of Spain, with the PNM anniversary, when he went to talk to the membership, and he knows no history about the PNM. And then, what a shame that Errol in a tie, and they will really vote for it. Because the opening of Balize House, the house of the thieving and the mafia, the Kusumusus headquarters, just imagine, while Fergie was telling them who in the picture and who are the stalwarts at the backbone where he sit, at the foundation he sit upon. Poor fella don't know anything about the history or the integrity of the PNM. But the only thing he know is the thieving, the corruption part, and the misleading part of the PNM. But he don't know about the service to their own membership. And it is very sad to know that cement price is going up again in a monopoly system. And one Espine, Wilfred Espine, have this country paying more for cement today. And if he want to sue me, let him do so. Because the 20% when the union holds on TCL, Espine sell his share when he was a conflict of interest that his wife buy shares, which all of them wife could buy shares into a company and they just sell it back to enrich themselves. So you see, while he down in Malta enjoying Guinness, we here now. So I only hope that the PNM supporters let them know if they don't get a free NHA house to live in, they will have to go back and build a Tapia house. They'll call it the Carrot and Mud House, that house, in modern time. So the good friend from Port of Spain, the picky head one, or the coal pot and the bicycle, they will have to ride. So people, let me try and understand. Your right is your right, but know what is your right to survive. Don't sell yourself short for just only $750 a fortnight. Have a nice night.
Yes, indeed. Of course, we are monitoring very closely the Orange Grove parcel of land that in the Caribbean, but the government has rescinded that decision, and we understand it is to put down houses. So they have begun, of course, the house padding exercise, and we are going to tell the people who will get those accommodations, go ahead and get it. But they have, as they have told us in the past, eat them out and then vote them out, as they did in Tobago. You can't want it more poignant, more conspicuous, more pellucid, more devastatingly significant as what you have to do whenever he calls elections, fearful as he is, sitting on a powder keg, and of course attempting to avoid implosion and explosion. But to come it must. All unfair games must be played over. I expect 27 to 28 seats in favor of the UNC and whatever combination that they would have organized. And he keep, of course, talking today about the UNC only focusing on elections. He wasn't focusing on elections when he brought those fake pieces of paper he called emails. He wasn't focusing on election. To, of course, indict or to conspire against a certain prime minister. That is treason. Treason. He blasted Lucky But the old people have a saying, what in pasture, in meet you yet, Rowley. You're bound to pay. And as the caller said, your day is not only marked and inevitable, but the degree of hurt that will be exercised or excised on you, you will wish for the earth to open and let you enter. Let's hear him. Let's hear him tell us that he was a member of NJAC.
What was there? The university students led by Geddes Granger. And I got very involved in that, largely through a fellow Bishop's High School friend of mine called Anthony McFarlane, who was a student involved in the Sir George William University problem in Canada, where West Indian students were fighting racism. And they came back here educating us about the need to challenge the status quo, because there were certain remnants of the colonial era which had to be challenged. Not meaning to hurt or harm anyone, but meaning to complete the liberation that had come with independence. And I got myself involved in listening to the lectures of these people and actually participating in talking to people about it. And I first spoke to an audience at Jogi Road in Sawa on this.
What? Let me repeat that again. Rowley, the consummate pretender to be a PNM. Let's hear him again.
The problem in Canada, where West Indian students were fighting racism. And they came back here educating us about the need to challenge the status quo, because there were certain remnants of the colonial era which had to be challenged. Not meaning to hurt or harm anyone, but meaning to complete the liberation that had come with independence. And I got myself involved in listening to the lectures of these people and actually participating in talking to people about it. And I first spoke to an audience at Jogi Road in Sawa on this issue as an NJAC person in 1970. We were out speaking on platforms.
What? What, Rowley? As an NJAC person in 1970, when the whole country was in uproar because the NJAC led the way against Eric Williams. Against Eric Williams and the 1970 uprising. Let's hear that again. I can't believe this. This man is total and absolute in terms of his egregious and certainly not just opportunistic. Not just opportunistic people, but a man with no morals, no scruples. And that is why he will always say and begin his political relationship with the PNM from 1974. He never goes back to 1970. Otherwise, he will have to say what he just told us. Let's hear him again.
Because there were certain remnants of the colonial era which had to be challenged. Not meaning to hurt or harm anyone, but meaning to complete the liberation that had come with independence. And I got myself involved in listening to the lectures of these people and actually participating in talking to people about it. And I first spoke to an audience at Jogi Road in Sawa on this issue as an NJAC person in 1970. We were out speaking on platforms, and we got news that Gordon Grant Hardware was on fire. And we knew that was big trouble. We knew nothing about it, but NJAC would be blamed, and trouble was coming. So we had to stay up all night in a restaurant to make sure that we had a perfect alibi. And the next day, I was at my grandfather's house, And I got a long lecture from my grandfather as to where I was heading. And he virtually instructed me to go back to Trinidad, to my mother's place. They came looking for me. The police came looking for me, but I was in Trinidad, having left there the night before. And I think that scared me. 1974, my friend John Scott, who was a geologist, who was kind of mentoring me when I came back here, he was a member of the PNM, a very high-ranking person at the constituency level. And I remember one day we had the normal conversation of politics, and he just got fed up with me and said, listen, I don't want to hear anything from you. I don't want to hear anything else from you. You seem to have all the answers, but you got an education, and if you want to get involved to help, do so, but no more talk. And I was kind of pulled up in that way. And he said, well, why don't you join the party? And I joined the PNM in Tunapuna in 1974.
You contested the poll first time and you lost. Tell us what led up to that.
Lost, this loser, again pretending that he's a winner. This loser, pretending that he is a winner, and hogwash all over the place, including yesterday. And he get licks to a frazzle in Tobago. He get licks to a frazzle in Sangre Grande. He get licks to a frazzle in the by-election in Arima after a PNM mayor demitted office for, of course, the national elections. He get licks to a frazzle in the by-election in Barataria. He get licks to a frazzle in the by-election in Paria. He get licks to a frazzle. An absolute and total decimation in Tobago, and he was reduced in San Fernando in the local government elections. Boy, oh boy. That man was blind from long time. Long time. A loser. That is why I keep saying he has an inferiority complex. All the achievements that he pretend to have made and the strides can't satisfy because it is not genuine. That's pure opportunistic. And of course, undermine Manning to get where he eventually got in terms of the leadership of the PNM. And everybody, of course, who are PNM and, of course, had voting rights, went and fell for this nonsense. He was, of course, a corruption buster. He mashed up Manning with that. He tell him about Calder Hart and Unicott. Today, Unicott is under the office of the Prime Minister and is bubble after bubble, so much so that we now have to say and change, of course, to the pseudonym of course, Rowley. And there you add, of course, the prefix Bubble Keith Christopher Rowley, Bubble, of course, Stuart Young, Bubble Alrari, Bubble, Bubble. Bunch of scamps.
Well, that was the best election I ever got involved in, I must say. I was living in Westmoreland at the time, and the election was called. George Chambers was the Prime Minister, and it was soon after Dr. Williams died. And I think the sudden pass.
Soon after Dr. Williams died, and soon after too, you were on an NJAC platform protesting against Dr. Williams in 1970. In 1970, Rowley, you're a dog with minge. You're a dog with minge. A pedophile that, of course, and a predator of unimaginable proportion. That's what you are. All you PNM. Rowley was a NJAC. PNM. Your political leader and Prime Minister, questionable, was an NJAC. Let me play it again. Just in case you're in here.
I don't want to hear anything from you. I don't want to hear anything else from you. You seem to have all the answers. So we had to stay up all night in a restaurant to make sure that we had actually participating in talking to people about it. And I first spoke to an audience at Jogi Road in Sawa on this issue as an NJAC person in 1970. We were out listening to the lectures of these people and actually participating in talking to people about it. And I first spoke to an audience at Jogi Road in Sawa on this issue as an NJAC person. On this issue as an NJAC person. On this issue as an NJAC Sawa on this issue as an NJAC Sawa on this issue as an NJAC person. On this issue as an NJAC person in 1970. We were out speaking on platforms, and we got news that Gordon Grant Hardware was on fire. And we knew that was big trouble. We knew nothing about it, but NJAC could be blamed, and trouble was coming. So we had to stay up all night in a restaurant to make sure that we had a perfect alibi. And the next day, I was at my grandfather's house, and I got a long lecture from my grandfather as to where I was heading. And he virtually instructed me to go back to Trinidad, to my mother's place. They came looking for me. The police came looking for me, but I was in Trinidad, having left there the night before. And I think that scared me. 1974, my friend John Scott, who was a geologist, who was kind of mentoring me when I came back here, he was a member of the PNM, a very high-ranking person at the constituency level. And I remember one day we had the normal conversation of politics, and he just got fed up with me and said, listen, I don't want to hear anything from you. I don't want to hear anything else from you. You seem to have all the answers, but you got an education, and if you want to get involved to help, do so, but no more talk. And I was kind of pulled up in that way. And he said, well, why don't you join the party? And I joined the PNM in Tunapuna in 1974.
You contested the poll first time and you lost. Tell us what led up to that.
Well, that was the best election I ever got involved in, I must say. I was living in Westmoreland at the time, and the election was called. George Chambers was the Prime Minister, and it was soon after Dr. Williams died. And I think the sudden passing of Dr. Williams had a tremendous effect on people like me. And here I was in Trinidad being told that they couldn't find a candidate for Tobago West.
Hey. Yeah, loud and clear.
Right.
Yes.
You see them different voices around here?
Yeah.
That little infant-like voice?
Yeah.
When he talking soft?
Yeah.
That's when he infantile stage. And then the next voice you just ball and just like that for go tell him, shut up.
Yes.
That's the big man thing.
Right.
And when he got into your own world, in the phantom world, we telling everybody in the whole world how you must run the world. That's when he got to his own exclusive world where he living in.
He man is bipolar. Phantom, yeah, he's a bipolar boy. He's schizophrenic. Yeah. The man sick. So that's how he was before election, you know.
I know.
Before election, you know, look how pious and saw the Kamashans. And today he's a raging bull in all its characteristics and of course motions. Yeah. Yeah, of course, Kamala the Matador will handle it. Yes.
Tomorrow morning on the Gong report.
Yes.
When I have more time to talk, and let's come through better.
All right.
I'm going to tell you what's going on with them.
Good.
You remember the movie The Poseidon Adventure?
Yeah, I remember that, yes.
When the boat turned upside down?
Yeah. It was a adventure, a misadventure. Yeah.
Boat upside down, and when they thought they was going to the top.
Really headed for the bottom. Yeah. Yeah.
And then you go back.
Yeah. Definitely.
All outside there could see what going on, they can reach to the bottom.
Yeah.
And patting themselves on the back.
Yes.
And say that they're doing well.
Yeah.
So, we outside here, we see and they can reach down to the bottom.
That's right.
And if we don't move them, as Jack said tonight on my key program, we might as well head for Piaco.
Yes.
and get out of here. So we live in the Poseidon adventure, you know.
Yes, man. Very good analogy. Yes, very good analogy.
Yes. But I tell you already, so I have to tell you anymore. Like
Yes. Of course, you have to repeat it to the rest of the world as well.
Yeah, I got to repeat it tomorrow.
All right.
Boy,
have a good one.
Good night.
Yes, same to you. Yes, indeed. People, of course, are finding ways and means of communicating, man. Let's go and see if we can end because it's
I wasn't
after
married,
10
I
o'clock.
didn't have much responsibility right around me and so on. And they asked me to come to Tobago and run for the seat. And I locked up my apartment and I went to Tobago. And with a handful of PNM activists in Tobago, we ran a satellite campaign. And we ran that campaign like you wouldn't believe. And we came within a hair's breadth of winning that seat. Well, it's not so much a problem for them, I think it's a problem for me, because if I want them to give me the responsibility of running their affairs, they need to know who this person is, and they need to be comfortable with that person. So it falls to me, the PNM, and all those who are sponsoring me to ensure that people know as much about me as they can. I can't expect to lead the country and tell people elect somebody you don't know. But I'm competing for office. I don't expect my opponents to portray me as the best thing since sliced bread. What I don't expect is for them to portray me as Barabbas.
In recent times, one member of parliament has clearly gone over the limit if we're to judge by the reaction. How did you take that?
There are two aspects of that struck.
I mean, listen to this matter. Now we know who he is. We can make the comparison. He don't expect people to portray him as Barabbas. So in other words, he must be. He then see himself as Jesus. As Jesus. That's what he's saying. You don't expect them to portray him as Barabbas. Wow.
Me, more than any other. The allegations about me personally, that has been dispensed with. As you have seen, the victim of this supposed violation was able, fortunately for me, to speak for herself.
Just imagine that.
But I really felt hurt for my family, especially my father.
That hypocrite.
Who passed away.
You raped the girl and talking that nonsense?
And to hear that kind of characterization of my father, and to bring immediately all my brothers and their children and their nieces and nephews into wanting to accept and be part of that individual, that our father and their grandfather and their uncle and whoever he was to them was this beast. That really hurt me. And I've been thinking about it ever since, how my father would have reacted if he was alive to hear someone accuse him of such a heinous.
Now just imagine Rowley saying that. You can't believe that came out of his mouth. So calm, but clearly self-serving. It means wanting, playing dead to catch Kobo alive. That's what we were doing there. Playing dead, because if you tell him that today, he tell you how your mother make you. But there, looking for office, hoodwinking the people, playing pious, holier than thou. Never again, Rowley. Never again. The likes like you could see that hollow office of Prime Minister. Never again. A pleasant good night. Pleasant good night.
Lennox Smith, pleasant good night to you and everybody on the live.
Yes, indeed.
Good night.
Good night.
Well, I see we had a little difficulty today.
Yeah, boy.
Okay, call you after the program?
Yeah, call me after, boy. I had to get on in a particular way, but call me. Call me after. I finish it just
right,
now.
so here we're going on. Well, you were going before I go. I was taking in Rowley live. The press conference we did yesterday now.
Yes.
And watch now. If you pay attention to the journalists and them, the question them what I asking them, in a answering the question them we was asking him, you know.
Of course.
But one of the journalists was asking him some putting them question there, and he seen he was getting vexed. But I wish the rest of them journalists and them started asking the hard question, them have a serious meltdown. That is what I want to see. Asking the potent questions need to be asked. Don't beat on the bush.
Yeah, it will happen. Don't frighten, it will happen. He can't sustain that. He can't maintain that artificial calm that he's pretending, of course, to. You saw him in his outburst in Parliament when, of course, he told Rodney Charles to go get Barbados. So it's just a matter of time. Just a matter of time. He's going to get there. All right, my friend. So come after. Okay. Yes, indeed. Well, people, of course, we have come to the end. I trusted that you, once again, had to face reality, whether you're a sycophant or not. The fact of the matter is that Rowley is a despicable con man. And, in my view, a hustler. And no different, of course, to the people who he claimed to be gang leaders, etc. Because he is a gangster. A total robber. A total thief. And
he's saying that you can't believe that came out of his mouth.
Lower your radio. Go ahead.
He's saying his accusation, but yes, Lennox, he's saying his accusation, but it's a reality and a fact. You understand? That way he say that happened. And he's the perpetrator of the crime. But he's saying he's not Barabbas. I can tell you who he is. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. One day he's Dr. Jekyll, the next day is Mr. Hyde.
Boy.
You understand? You see him portraying two types of personalities.
Personality, yes.
That is Dr. Jekyll, you see there, that's not there. And after when he ranted and raving is when he Mr. Hyde. Have a good night, Lennox.
Yes, especially when he became Prime Minister. The true Rowley is now a manifestation. And he told us, Vice Prime Minister, of course, that he will not change. But we saw him artificially give us a show. He gave us a show. Then hoodwinking us, deceiving us to vote for that. As if that's
40 years I've been in politics. 40 years. 40 years later, you tell me about changing my approach to speaking to people and to them. If after 40 years, then change now, 40 years later, you tell me about changing my approach to speaking to people and to them. If after 40 years, then change now. But if you are describing and making recommendations that I should not say these things, one, or I should not say them so, well, the only way I know, you don't get involved with chip talk. I'm the only person from the cabinet. So all this speculation about someone, if you want to say the Prime Minister with the President, say so. But high-ranking official, I'm the only official in the cabinet who goes to President now to conduct state business.
Shut up, you rapscallion, deceptive, evil, wicked, diabolical, conman, and certainly destined for a prison cell as a former Prime Minister. Rest assured, you big liar. Let's hear that. Oh, let's go straight to the lines. We take a final call. Take a final call. Just a minute.
Yes, good night, Lennox. Calling from Tobago East, man. How you going?
Well, fighting up. Final call.
Yeah, just imagine Rowley going to gas speech and people know exactly Rowley ain't saying nothing. So I don't know why they're trying to alert people to listen to him. Because he really doesn't have nothing to tell the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
He's trying to justify
The man is
staying
a
there.
total waste and out of time in itself.
He's trying to justify staying
I don't know.
there. Buying time.
I don't know if people are listening to him because he really does not have to say. The man does not have to say at all. He's nothing to say. Talking about crime and listen, better Rowley shut him out and don't say nothing. Shut him out because he ain't making sense.
Yeah, he buying
all right,
time.
have a good night. Listen up here.
Yeah, he's trying to buy time.
All right, take care, man.
Yes, of course. Yes, indeed, of course. Let's go straight, of course, to Rowley the liar. In fact, the PNM.
I know some of you wouldn't believe me, but if a lie asks me good friend Mackie, it was a big lying competition to see who they will crown as lying champion. Liars from all parts of the West Indies, big shot liars from all them foreign countries. From a feel about 1,000 or so entry in 2 days, he boiled down and leave just 3. I had me eye on liar the lion, because I know he does come with some good ones. But they had a younger fella named Debo, come from some village there in Tobago. He said his father is Tobago's best.
Yes, of course, we have come to the end of tonight's exercise. Of course, it is 15 minutes past 10 o'clock. We started on time, so we have 15 minutes extra. Of course, don't forget tomorrow morning, the Gong Report, Andy, Mikey, and myself, of course, Andy still on Sabatal, between 6 and 9. And of course, tomorrow night, we will return right here at 8 o'clock on the Corridor Transformation. Have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless. I trust that you have been further enlightened and edified to make a decision firmly, not only with your conscience, but in your own best interest, including your children and in Trinidad and Tobago's best interest. See you tomorrow night and tomorrow morning. God bless. Bye-bye.
About fishing, let me blow your mind. Now listen to something. When you're talking about fish, you just hit the spot. I was hoping you did believe it or not. The fish your father caught, to you it was great, but it's them small fish my father does use for bait. Lion went ahead on points in the show, completely eliminated Mr. Debo. The next man to beat was Willie Outrageous. He asked the judges if he could lie first. The judges asked Lion, the Lion agreed. Say any topic we'll pick is alright with me. He outrageous, I strong, let we meet head on. And when we done, see who had fit to wear the crown. You hear lie? That is lie. Lie? You hear lie?
Teacher Percy say if you tell a lie, you go into hell as soon as you die.
Let it go. Let it go. Shook it up. Yep. The outrageous say that he knew a tailor comes to making suit. The man is the master. If you show him a man coming round a corner, he could make him a suit and don't even measure. A talking about suit, sitting down correct, expertly made and fitting perfect. He used to sew for Shakespeare, make suit for Hamlet, and up to this day yet make a mistake yet. You know the crowd went wild, they couldn't cool down. I say liar, the lion losing the crown. The judges brought the crowd back to order and asked the lion to lie about a tailor. He said my man is the best, Rolf is his name. Cutting cloth, making suit is his game. Don't show him the man, my tailor is class. Just show him the corner where the fella pass, and he gon' make a suit. That is tailor, you hear lie? King liar.
Teacher Percy say if you tell a lie, you go into hell as soon as you die.
Whip it up. Whip it up. Line it up. Move it up.
They say he was too vindictive and wicked. He had vengeance against Trini. Abu Bakr should kill him, July 1990. Only thinking about Tobago, he ain't deserved to be alive. So we kick him out and tell him go, singing the driver can't drive, but now the driver driving good.
The driver driving,
the country moving smooth.
the country moving.
The driver renovate the kitchen for 1.6 million. Advertise the face on TV for only 400 grand. Boy, the driver driving good.
The driver driving,
The country moving smooth.
I don't know why Elsina she put full terror. I don't know why Elsina she put full terror. Because they after the woman to say she man named Henry Ford from the USA. I say who? She said the man makes a motor car. That is my man, he's a millionaire. He just give me money. I don't take, I say plenty money. She say wait, money by the buckets because I love him, I won't take it. Don't doubt me. If I tell you something, there I go ball. He does give me motor cars and all, and he watching me straight in the eye. Oh my lord, that woman could lie. She damn lie. I haven't a thing to give Elsina, but yet she says she loved her. I said, darling, you can't fool me because no love without money. Men like Henry Ford and Paul Getty have money that they could full up the sea. So don't try to fool up my brain with lie. You know the woman gets across and they start to cry. She say they gives money, I don't take. I say plenty money. She say wait, money by the buckets because I love them, I won't take it. Don't doubt me. If I tell you something, there are you go ball. They just give me motor cars and all, and she watching me straight in the eye. Oh my Lord, that woman could lie. She down lie.